Peace on earth, goodwill towards human. Justice and goodness. Calling the police commissioner's office in Victoria because, well, you'll find out why. Just listen. Let's see if we can get anywhere with this. I had to write notes because I had to be very focused.
Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner, how can I help you?
Oh, hey, I called a while back in June. I was abused on June 7th by VPD.
Okay.
And, yeah, like it was in public and it was by in-store security as well at the order of the manager.
Okay.
But when I looked at the submission box on the site, I just felt a little unsure where to start or who I was actually talking to or what I should focus on. I didn't have a hard copy of my transcript or anything. I didn't know what bullet
So
points.
you have not made a complaint?
No.
Okay. So you went to our website, you saw the web submissions. So typically what we want to see, there's all the fill in the blanks. So of course our office is only able to take complaints about the police officers, not store security or anything like that. So focus on the police officer dealings.
Right.
And then typically I just say to people, keep it clear, keep it concise. What we're looking to see is whether there has been misconduct by the police officer or officers involved. So anything that you think, the police officer should not have done or may have done too severely or to the extreme or how you think the police officer should have dealt with it is always a good thing. Like, for example, I dealt with the police officer and, people end up sometimes reporting something and then the police come and they're like, it's no big deal, whatever, right? And the person thinks, they didn't even take a statement from this person. They didn't even talk to that person. They should have probably talked to that person. I felt like I was being dismissed. They talked to me belittling, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
If there's not, if there's enough information which basically, is clear, concise, and, I tell people there's a lot of room there. You can fill it out. If it's fairly straightforward, keep it as straightforward as you can. If there is lacking information, we would get in touch and say, hey, we got your complaint, but we noticed that it's missing this, this, and this. Or what happens is once we open the file, it is assigned to one of our investigative analysts to look at it closer to determine whether misconduct has occurred. And they very often, more often than not, contact the complainant to discuss it a little bit more in detail and to kind of answer their questions that they may have, because of course they look at it through a different eye than the rest of us. So
Yeah. It's a very long incident and I just wonder, am I supposed to write the whole incident out? Like, do I need a transcript of the whole thing? Because I don't know what the protocol, I don't know all the things that were actually, what to bullet point term them. I don't know what the terms I would use and stuff.
Very often what happens is we get people that make a complaint and they have a very long backstory. Like, a perfect example is people complaining about police officers not taking the situations they have with their neighbors seriously. So what we'll end up with is, a 6-page complaint, but 3 of those pages are labeling incidents which the person had with their neighbor, which doesn't, unfortunately...
No. I don't mean a backstory. I just mean it was for 3 hours that I was abused in public on the sidewalk in the middle of the day.
Okay.
Yeah. And plus, I went to the police department, to get the police incident report.
Yeah.
And when I got it back, it is full of lies.
Okay.
Full of lies. And provable lies. And they would have to prove their side of the story. It also was a criminal report. I don't know who to talk to about that. They didn't tell us when they let me go out of the paddy wagon. I had done nothing illegal. And they let me go because they finally looked at their surveillance tape 3 hours into that.
Oh.
So it's been really scary, and just trying to understand who to talk to and who actually upholds justice and who's unbiased and who to trust. I even feel like my lawyer's not, I got the contact for the lawyer because no lawyers are really available because everything's backlogged, but also I needed a lawyer that deals with police, and no lawyers. It was really hard. It took me, a month and a half to find someone, and then it was referred by the city, but I feel like he just wants me. I paid a bunch of money, but he hasn't done anything to help me understand what I need to write to you guys. But one thing that reassured me about you guys was that a police officer came to me after this incident and told me that you are sovereign and that you answer to justice alone. You're not favoring the police. You're not answering to government leaders, that you actually are investigative in honor of justice.
Right. Yeah, we are independent of the police.
Wow.
So what I'm going to say...
But not the government.
Well, we are part of the provincial government, but we don't have any dealings with them besides we're employed by them.
Okay.
So basically what happens is our investigative analysts look at everything independently from anything that the police may. But what I was going to say is it sounds like a terrible ordeal.
Yeah.
And if it was really long and you want to put, basically we're going to look at it with an eye to where's the misconduct. I mean,
Right.
it sounds absolutely awful.
Yeah.
So you were...
And it's scary because I'm on a mental health list. They said I'm being reviewed, that they'll come by and check on me. They said that I'm a firearms interest, and my top was broken and I was topless, but it was because of how I was cuffed by the security of the store.
Yeah.
And when they, all these little details, I don't know what to focus on. What? What's that?
I said you could put that in about the security, just because that kind of says, like, my top was ripped by this person, and, that's how I had to stay.
Yeah.
For the time that you were in custody.
Yeah, when they arrived, I was down on the ground with my tits to the sidewalk, and I was cuffed, and they said that I was sitting when they got there. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
It's full of lies, and it tells that I'm manic, and right now those papers are at the mental health ward full of lies, and I have never been asked. I don't know, do I go to the police and report what they did to me? You know what I mean? Where do I put my report? Just with you, or should I be going and reporting there as well?
Bring to the attention of the police that there are errors in a police report.
Okay.
Let me just see. Just dealt with this the other day, so let me just see.
Good, because I was shocked to see it. And
I do think that you should still make a complaint, because it sounds like your dealings are worthy of a complaint. I'm not an analyst, one of our analysts, so I'm not able to say, oh, definitely, it's misconduct and whatever, but it sounds like it is, by what you're saying, it sounds pretty traumatic, and it sounds, if you, and I'm guessing that they let you go, so they basically had you there sweating it for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was a crowd. Yeah, it was crazy.
To the police station?
They put me in the paddy wagon into a very small seat, and I was in pain. I was overly cuffed. I'd been psychologically messed with for quite a while. My husband was there. They kept separating us. They told me I was being chartered. They were trying to read me my rights, and I just kept crying. I was like, what is happening? They told me I did assault. On the report it says I assaulted someone, but I hugged someone that was hugging me.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, put that all in there, because like I said, if there's anything that we have questions about, we'll ask.
Okay.
I think it sounds like it's probably one of those things that it will make you feel good to just get it out.
Yeah, I feel like, who do I talk to? Because I've been trying to find who do I talk to about this, but it was really reassuring. I've had a lot of reassurance from good cops just come forward to me. So it tells me that I can't just drop this just for the sake of justice with everyone, the police as well. I felt like the police needed me, but I don't want to just tip off people that are actually abusive as well, and they're all talking to their buddies. I don't know. So I need to know that you guys are like on my side, working for me or with me, you know, like.
Well, that's what we're here for. And I always say to people, I welcome you to make the complaint. I don't know whether they're going to find misconduct or what, but I welcome you, because I think that for a lot of people, it's just having that ability to speak up for themselves helps a lot. Like that ability to say, okay, there's somebody here that I can tell this to that's going to take me seriously. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I would like to make it right. I mean, I'm banned from my local grocery store. The police, they want it to be right, but then the bad cops are right there doing whatever they like, whenever they like. And they have a key to my place. Like, it's just, I had cops visit me twice after that incident. And the one cop just sat me down and said, they're trying to trap you, so just focus on what needs to be done, or just drop it, because it's going to be too traumatic to face. So I'm pursuing because I feel everybody needs me to pursue it, because most people can't. So thank you for being an ally.
Yeah, of course. Just looking to see about the freedom of information stuff here, because so you requested your file from the police department, and you've got a copy of that.
And we have a copy of that, yes.
So let's look and see. Of course, it's not coming up, so just.
Okay.
I love it when you know that there's something that you're searching for, but yet you try to search and it's not there. Let's see here. Might be back a bit. Let's see here. All right, where is it here? Interesting. I seriously, somebody called about the exact same thing yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And I found it, and.
Oh, good. Oh, from Vancouver too?
They were looking for freedom of information for a file, probably in Vancouver.
That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, it's a freedom of information. So you
The
basically
police
fill out the form, and they have X amount of time to.
They had 30 days. Yeah. It took about 6 weeks. But.
Yeah, I think that they're required to provide you with a response within 30 days, and they can delay it at that point if they want to. But of course, then with the whole pandemic thing, then everything takes a little bit longer.
Yes. No kidding, right? Wow.
Yeah. But you can contact the department about errors.
Okay.
And,
I wanted to know.
I don't know because I haven't spoken with anyone that said, oh yeah, I told them there was errors and they fixed them. So, that could definitely be part of your complaint.
Would I just go down to the office here where the local office where I went to pick up my case?
That probably you could say to them, like, I've received this and, there's errors. And the unfortunate thing is I know our office, I can't find the email at the moment, but I know our office, we say to people, you can request that the errors be rectified, but what I've never heard back from someone to say, I went there, I told them that this was incorrect, or whether those changes are simply changes such as birth date, color of hair, for all I know that could be. I think if there's blatant outright error / lies, what have you in there, that
accusations,
you should put that as part of your complaint.
False words. There was words in there that I did not say.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, I did not say that.
Yeah. So do I go to the VPT and I can say, this is incorrect, what shall I do about it, right?
Yep. you know what? You could go to them and you can just say, like, I've received this and I've noticed that there are, some errors, and and who do I talk to about getting that fixed? Because, like you said, in your case, now that is with somebody else. I think that you said it's with the
security as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
They were working together. It almost felt like organized crime. I'm not kidding. They were trying to convince my husband I had to go to psych ward because I hugged someone.
Did you say that now there is a psych department that has a copy of that?
Yes, it says.
Right? And so
I don't even know what that means.
I don't really either.
So maybe I could ask them that.
Do you have a mental health worker?
No.
No?
No, I don't. I've never taken. I'm not mentally ill at all. I was screaming because I was being planted. My face was being planted to the ground, topless, and cuffed by I was cuffed by the security who had street clothes on, as I was leaving the store. Yeah. It was really bad.
It sounds really terrible.
Yeah.
So put all that in there. Go there and just say, like, there's some blatant errors here. Like, who would I talk to about this? When did this happen?
June 7th.
So it's not even that long ago. So I would think that, fairly getting a copy of it fairly quickly. And I mean, maybe even, something that may come of it is that the officer that wrote the report, it's just like, no, I didn't say those things.
Right. He spoke for it because their sergeant was the one abusing me. But the officer who spoke in the report, he spoke for everyone, including the victim, and he wasn't even there when there was a victim, and he made it all up. So, and they all worked kind of together. So there was a couple people that just they just couldn't do anything about it. There's like 6 cops involved, and then 3 security plus a manager involved with abusing me. Yeah. It was a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
It was a lot.
Well, like I said, I'll welcome your complaint. Talk to the police department, freedom of information area where you got that stuff from, and just say, now that I've had a chance to review this, like...
Because they have to prove what they said. And I haven't been given the video surveillance. Do you have any way? I know the police can get it, but I have paid $2,500 to my lawyer, and he still hasn't done anything. Nothing.
You could put that in your complaint that you know that there is security footage of the, wherever it is from, and then definitely once the investigative analyst has a handle on it, they probably can speak with the police about getting that.
Yeah, because we called the we called the Whole Foods, and they refused to cooperate. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and my lawyer isn't doing anything. The lawyer I got from the city isn't doing anything. So and I paid $2,500 just to tell my story.
What's the lawyer for?
Yeah, I thought I needed a lawyer to get a subpoena because they weren't giving me video footage, and they said we have to get it from the police. You have to get the police to get it.
Right.
And so then I got a lawyer, and he hasn't done anything. He's just heard my story. That's it.
Right.
He's just sitting around.
Put that in there that you know that it exists, and you're pretty sure the police have it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it sounds like kind of the issue, the deal that it was, I would think that it would definitely be something that they would be canvassing after the fact is for footage.
Yeah, because they have to prove what they said. They have to prove what they said. And because it's a private grocery store, they're going to have security footage.
Yeah.
They definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
And so does the sidewalk. Do you think it's worth going around to other stores near there that have surveillance?
I think that probably it depends if they have how long they store it for.
I know, that's the damn problem. I know. And no one was cooperating, you know.
Every week it repeats itself. It's like, but.
But guess what?
Provide it to you because technically they would be breaching, other people's privacy by giving you a video of,
definitely.
everybody in the neighborhood shopping. And
but at least if the police could have it, then they could prove, well, I could prove that they're lying.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we do have a small video footage that my husband first filmed when it was first happening, but then, the phone went flying. So, but we do have a very harsh beginning of the abuse on tape, and I don't think they know that. And I think that's really important.
Put that in there too, that you do have a very brief sort of
In
at the
yeah,
beginning
brutality.
of
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I would also say in there that you do believe that the police have obtained the closed circuit television footage or whatever, the CCTV.
Yeah, they viewed it, and they viewed it.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell us there was anything wrong with me. They let me out of the paddy wagon. The paddy wagon was running the whole time. They finally shoved me in there. The sergeant shoved me in there. And I was not combating anyone the whole time. I wasn't even arguing. They said I was arguing, but I was merely saying I couldn't hear them because they were shouting down at me, and I was on the ground and I was sort of sobbing. I couldn't really hear stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
No one asked me once ever what happened, and no one asked my husband what happened.
Right.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? All that I should write down,
Put
right?
that in there, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just so much. Oh my goodness. What is your name?
My name's Stacy.
Okay, Stacy, thank you so much.
Okay, what was your
Anything?
name so I can keep an eye out?
Venus.
Venus?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm not going to forget that name.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to do what's right for everybody's sake, you know? Like, that shouldn't be happening to anyone.
No, it should not. And that's
And for them to lie made me think, wow, they're used to getting away with everything, and that just not sounding good, especially this day and age.
No, not at all. So,
So.
I'll keep an eye out for that then, and if you have any more questions, then give us a call back.
Thank you so much, Stacy.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
have
All
a great
right, take
day.
care.
Bring me relief.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Well, that was pretty fantastic, although they are paid by the government, but not all people that are paid by the government are bowing down to everything. Like, my husband used to work for the government. You know what? My husband worked for the government. And since Trudeau got in, he asked for his pension. And the first thing that Trudeau did actually with government checks is very weird. I'm going to change the system, he said. And I think he paid people who were really into him. He paid government people. Mike, maybe this is true. Maybe he paid people that were really sovereign to him or like obeying him. And he paid them like double, triple some people. And those people spent the money. We know who did that. And Mike, he went to ask for his pension from the government. We still no pension in that. How many years? 4 years.
Well, I got 70%. I'm still short the 30.
Yeah, he didn't get the whole. Well, and you even can't pull it out. Like, they put it into investments for you. You have to keep it in investments mostly. And then the part that's supposed to be a lot for him to have as cash as a pension from the government, still nothing, and no word, no nothing, just silence. So, someone who works for the government, like she said, she works for the government. So she said, "Well, they do pay us." She did have to say that, didn't she?
Yep.
But she did reassure me that her focus really is on justice.
Yep.
So I could feel that. I felt pretty reassured by her.
Yeah. Well, the province doesn't have a.
Or do you think she's a
province?
swindler?
No, I think the main thing is that the province does not have its own police force, and with this independent body, it's like the ombudsman, who's also paid by the province, or gets funding from the province, and that's really it is. It's this, they get funded by the province.
That was really satisfying, right?
It's like the ombudsman's, where the positive thing of living in Canada is that we have an independent source where they do go after politicians, they do go after police officers, they do go after police forces, police officers, anything that because there has to be checks and balances and within our society, and so we're finally finally talking to these individuals, and so this is great. And we're going to be moving forward on.
What do we do next?
So the next will be we're going to be working on sort of our bullet point forms to do the web submissions. Then we're also going to contact the Freedom of Information Office.
Wait, what's their website again? Remember?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it?
Go to the if you type in the BC Police Complaint Commission, you will go directly to their link and to the website, and that's where you can file any complaints, which is great. And I think with most people, what they need to do is not take the thanks.
I'm trying to move this a little bit
so,
over so we
most
can
people,
see it.
yeah. So for people, they don't. So for people who want to make who felt a little unjust or unheard by the police, is that they this is all part of this training where we're seeing that where there are great cops out there who we've had experience of.
We love the VPD.
We've had a couple of great cops that have come over, one for a noise complaint, one for something like totally immaterial.
We had a noise complaint.
And it was
they were nice.
like 2 noise complaints, and they were super nice. They came over and smiled and actually communicated with us.
Yeah,
Whereas,
they were decent
where the other
cops.
incident is where there was nothing. And it was just like, it was all about we were the enemy, we were the ones in the wrong.
Punishment.
They were being judge, jury, and executioner right at
Oh
that
yeah. They were ready to kill me. I was like,
yes,
Jesus.
Exactly. And so this is where we're getting to that point where, you know what? Those officers, and sure there were a couple of good officers there, but they had other higher up constable and a sergeant there who basically they ran the show, and they were going to control and dictate what was going on and what was going to be said. And what they did was wrong. And so that's why we are now going.
It's like they
were
provoking me.
Right. So
to be crazy or
exactly. So we're going to go through this process.
But I didn't. And they're like, oh.
So we're going through this process to get some justice, get the to fix what is wrong with not just the report, but how we were treated, and make sure that nobody else has to go through this.
Or if they are, they have some clarity about how to hold someone accountable, because if cops are held accountable that are doing wrong things, we wouldn't have the problems we're having now, and we wouldn't have all the abuse that's going on, and kids get abused, kids getting abused sexually, physically, because there's corruption in there. Not necessarily VPD, but in BC, the RCMP and all that. But, you know, we always felt like the Vancouver police didn't play those games, those like, you know, sort of coked out games. But sometimes they'll have a special force that comes in and messes around with stuff, or they have rookies that are just bad rookies, you know, being bad.
Yeah. So I think it's I think we're gonna.
And then there's some extra bad work.
Yeah.
Right
So
now.
in the next day or two, we're going to be writing out sort of in that.
Well, what are we gonna do next?
We're going to write out some clear, concise bullet point forms of what was actually what was wrong. We're going to also be mentioning that about the video surveillance. That we're going to note that the police have viewed the video surveillance. We are also saying that we've also have video footage and pictures documenting what was going on. We also want to basically, but the other key thing is sort of going, and it is sort of going. Not just is like what they did wrong. Like obviously that's the key part of the abuse of by the officers and what they did wrong. But it's also how should they have dealt with it better? Because that's another key part.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that because I thought they don't care.
Yeah, because
that'd be good to tell them that.
Of course,
in person. I'd like to tell them that in person. What I want you to know is they probably play that game.
But what I find because when if we slowed everything down, even right when inside Whole Foods, and if we actually had clear communication, this
even if we're enemies,
this went from
went
from a 1 to 10 in 1 minute, or in a couple minutes, and it was just ridiculous. So, but then as soon as we got out there. Again, what I said before is that we're the accused, but there was no question.
Maybe I should accuse their complaint desk for being a broken, crazy.
But they were not communicating.
Whore.
But
She's probably a whore.
But the thing is, again, what Venus has told the commissioner's office. I was never given it. I was never asked to give a statement. Never asked to my side of the story. Venus was never asked. It was just like, you're guilty. throw you in jail. And again, that is not right.
We were
Like,
we were already
again,
getting out of the store.
amount
We
of
were out, and we
for the
hadn't
amount of
damaged
time-
anything, sir.
The amount of time that we were there, all that needed to be done was like say, hey, let's roll back a little bit the escalation, and say, hey, what? Like, we've heard their side, you've seen the video, or when after they finally saw the
How
video.
about this?
But
On outside of their building, they should say, if you don't have a mask on, we will whip your ass. So you just go, okay, I got it. It's clear. That would be the first thing that the store could do, I guess. That's a store thing. I'm gonna write that in the store. Ideas for the store.
Anyways,